Welcome to Rated Radio. I'm Shane Wyndham.
And I'm Ray Zander.
This is 50 Cent versus Kanye West.
I hope you're ready for a fight.
Roll the intro. Before we get going, this matchup is here because our listener Sarah recommended Kanye West as one of her top 10 artists, and that is where we will be starting.
But this album was chosen at random, correct, Shane?
Yeah, both of them were. The album we rolled at random from Kanye was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy from 2010. Out of the 13 tracks, I thought 10 were great.
I thought 5 were great.
My bottom track was Who Will Survive in America.
Same.
And my top track was All of the Lights.
My top track was Blame Game.
All right. I thought I was going to have more to add to that, but then my brain just went completely blank.
All
Clearly,
right.
We're just starting recording for the day, so...
Yes.
The music makes me feel like I'm seeing a performative art show at the Apollo Theater.
And the music makes me feel like I'm at a concert in VR.
I dig it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the album?
West's political gospel work of art stands tall against a futuristic space-age dystopian backdrop here. As West is free to let his truly unique flag fly, with winners like Power, Blame Game from me, I think it's safe to say I have a preference to some of West's older styles, but this artistic approach overall is not my cup of tea. Even with all of the collabs, I'm not at all taking pleasure in my overall disappointment with this one. Call me nostalgic, but I miss the simple Kanye, taking us back to school Kanye.
I love that there's a vehicle basing down the road as you started reading through like the little more critical aspects of that. I was like, I was just picturing Kanye on the road. Yeah, talk that shit.
Here I come.
I don't like fish sticks.
Oh my God.
So for me, luxurious and intricate instrumentals are what make this listen unskippable. We're talking samples blended expertly with other samples alongside tons of new additions like guitar solos, noise effects, and killer guest contributions. Kanye's lyricism even has a tendency to show both depth and complexity. What I tend to not feel so much fondness for includes some musical melodies not changing at the choruses and Kanye's voice, primarily when he tries singing. It's not that I hate his voice. On the contrary, there are moments when I love it. So this is more of a half and half critique. Guess it's also, they're basing again. Right as I get to the critiques, the bass is going again. This is a universal irony, I guess you could
I did bring my spouse. He's outside the window. This is a good time to tell you this.
I guess it's also worth mentioning that some of these tracks go on a bit too long or get lost in their own weeds. I could see that working in favor of many genres of music, but it's ultimately detrimental in most rap, assuming we're dealing with the same melody as an undercurrent for the entirety of the track in question, which is the case here where said critique is concerned. But there's a surprising amount of stylistic variety on this disc. Not many rap albums can be counted on to give you much more than influences like jazz, funk, or R&B. This thing goes to damn near every musical continent except for country. Want some indie? This has you covered. Looking for a touch of techno? Yep, you'll feel welcome here. Just want to rock? There's more for you here than you're assuming. Even pop gets in for free after 9 p.m. And don't be surprised if you see classical kicking it behind the bar. Don't believe me? Go watch the video for All of the Lights once this show's over and see if you can spot each of the many voices that show up throughout. It's about as close to MJ's We Are the World as the current century has gotten. With that, I am ending this review before I start simping over Rihanna.
All right, now that you have heard both sides of this coin, let's flip it and take a break.
No, but seriously, have you seen her in All of the Lights?
Can we go?
Yeah, let's go. They really getting it out there.
What did you do? Go back and watch all of his music videos that were featuring Rihanna just to feed your obsession?
No, I was curious because on Spotify, that particular song just says Kanye West, yet it has more features than any song on the album. Usually they all say, this guest appears.
Yeah. But maybe it's too many to list.
It was. I think at the end of the music video, they actually list every single artist that is in the thing.
On Spotify, it doesn't even say like featuring artists or doesn't have the list. It's too long.
Yeah. It's just Kanye West. I would gladly go and watch most of his music videos, to be clear.
Yeah.
That's where this dude shines.
I have probably seen one of his worst music videos multiple times because I love the song. It's Bound to.
Okay.
People make fun of that video so much. And it got to the point to where I'm like, I do not want to contribute to the video because I do not give a shit about the video. I only love the song. So I would deliberately go and watch Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
and
with James Franco.
Yes,
that's the only one I watch.
That's the one I watch now, because before it was made available, I was forced to kind of have to watch the other one.
I get you.
So
what Billboard hit did we listen to this time?
Well, since we are here to talk about the Billboard, we covered Next Thing You Know by Jordan Davis.
And what'd you think?
This sweet country ditty tells the story of how time and how quickly your priorities in such a short amount of time can change. We've heard this formula so many times before, but here, Davis's sweet vocals and even pace and even simple backing track are nice and comforting. I give it a 7.
Okay. I thought this is a nice sounding and sappy love song that's a bit overloaded with country cliches like deer heads and church. I'm not a fan of how often the song title gets repeated or how the songwriter's idea of a bridge amounts to a literal few seconds of solo guitar, but the melodies are gentle and cozy, plus much of the lyrics are going to be spot on for hetero couples who decided to have kids. It could have been great, but it's not quite there for me. A 6 out of 10 stars. Let's go talk about 50 Cent.
Yeah.
I get butterflies for some reason.
When talking about 50 Cent?
Something, I don't know, man.
You feel about 50 Cent and how 50 Cent feels about Helen Mirren.
Okay. The respect is mad.
Well, he's got a major boner for her, so
Oh,
I don't think you have a major boner for her.
I don't have a boner for 50 Cent.
I know. I was trying to see if you knew the relationship with Helen Mirren and 50 Cent.
I don't.
Yeah, he's obsessed with her. He's like, she was hot back in the day. She's still hot. Like, he is trying to get at Helen hard.
So the album we got from the randomizer was The Massacre from 2005. Out of the 22 tracks, I thought 5 were great.
I thought 4 were great.
My bottom track was Intro.
My bottom track was This Is 50.
And my top track was Gatman and Robin.
And my top track was Get in My Car.
Okay.
Okay.
I was waiting on the club hit.
Nope. Get in my car.
Look at you being surprising.
I know. I'm just full of surprises when you least expect it. But speaking of surprises, how did the music make you feel?
Like I've been murdering pussy and the competition.
And that is a surprise. Just kidding. Like I'm an extra that just walked into the filming of Soul Plane.
I'm not mad at that.
No, me neither. I love Soul Plane.
I saw recently that that film has been kind of review bombed. Yes. Which is surprising because I know when it came out, I thought it was fucking hilarious.
I thought it was funny too, and I really probably should not be admitting that on this platform, but that was the humor then. Yeah. We dealt with the white chicks comedy. We dealt with all that level of comedy.
White Chicks was awful. I'm sorry, but
it had its moments. A Tina the Talking Tummy is Cellulite Sally. Come on. It's still quoted.
All right. So tell me what you thought about the album that we're discussing right now.
So what I thought,
just so you know, the last thing I want is to disrespect the man who I have
a boner for.
I have grown more and more respect for this person
as he's gotten older.
Yes,
agreed. He has developed into such a stand-up individual. Yes. Like past his music, he's not even making music anymore, and he's just out in the public. He's advocating for things. He's just being a decent humanitarian in person,
running businesses. He's
being
writing,
a businessman. So yeah,
the fact that he can so easily sit with someone like Drew Barrymore, and it's just natural. Mm-hmm. Like you can see why everyone loved this human being.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
some people were not meant to be born into poverty and shot at a bunch, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of feel the same way about like Big Boy and Andre in a way.
Yeah.
And Outkast. They came from very humble beginnings, but there was always that level that they always really fought and drug themselves through the mud to have what they have and continue to grow upon themselves as they get older. And
Most
they have
definitely.
all aged gracefully. So I completely agree. But anyway, now that we're done stroking it about 50 Cent as a person, let's talk about his music. So 50's OG diss album comes from a place of disappointment as far as overall vibes. While the lyrics were deadly, the backing beats were dead on arrival for this host. While I expected greatness from its critical acclaim, this review is like its source material, lacking. 50 seems to recycle beats and asks a lot of his buddies for help along the way. Such artists include Eminem, Jamie Foxx, and Olivia. The vision is there, but the execution is just that, 50%.
Okay, look at you.
Sorry.
Getting clever at the end.
Yeah, I try. I've learned from the best.
I'll take that as a compliment.
It's a compliment.
I'm not sure my appreciation for 50 Cent is going to be accurately portrayed by so few of these song ratings reaching the status of greatness. Fact is, 50's music suffers from a fairly simplistic approach that's quite common in the genre. Unchanging instrumental melodies, G-rap lyrics, absent bridges, etc. But what you might not see of that base level assessment is just how pleasurable the man's voice is to vibe along to, how he really does work to change things up with vocal melodies at the choruses, and how pleasing these instrumentals are. Seriously, if I had to pick unvaried beats to let play, I'd routinely choose those of this artist. The totality of his sound leaves me feeling the way I do when watching Goodfellas and The Godfather. And both of those examples matter because they're stylistically different movies. Yet 50 manages capturing both the high-energy cool of Goodfellas alongside the classical cold flames of The Godfather. I do wish more tracks had the kind of badass playfulness on display at the end of Ski Mask Way's instrumental, but it deserves pointing out that the majority of this disc was just shy of being rated at great. And I was tempted to make some sort of exception to my rules because I know there's disappointment to come from a lot of these songs not making it onto my Great Songs playlist. If Curtis only had a bit more impressive intricacy in his bars, I wouldn't feel compelled to load this review with explanations. As it is though, the man mostly makes music for people to chill alongside. And he's talented at that. Throw in his voice and those Tupac meets Dr. Dre beats, and this is an easily enjoyable listen if you dig gangster rap with some club banger potential. An essential listen? No, but I will always enjoy hearing it. Killer bass lines, easy to remember verses, cared about choruses, nearly no skits, dangerously soothing vocals, lots of interesting frills, just not enough melodic variety or lyrical complexity within most songs to make it a must-hear.
All right. Do you need me to fan you after that? Woo! I feel like you just ran a marathon.
Please like or subscribe if you're still listening. And remember, you can send us all kinds of feedback to rated_radio@yahoo.com. Ray, who won for you?
Barely Kanye.
Yeah?
Yeah. Barely Kanye.
All right.
Who won for you?
Let's see here.
What?
Even though I'm your resident Swiftie, am no fan of Kanye's religious or political views and can't say I love what I've heard of his more recent sound, he's got this particular win in the bag. I think both artists are better than many of their peers at crafting good hooks and varied vocal melodies, but Kanye's got the upper hand with his otherworldly producer skills, routinely adding extra musical melodies even when the bass melodies aren't changing. If you'd asked me at the height of their beef over record sales, I'd have laughed myself out of the room at the thought of calling Kanye the winner here. But the line of music time definitely was nicer to Kanye for quite a while longer than it was to 50. So I'm happy with the way this one shook out. Massive 50 Cent fan and overall supporter of his personage and professionalism, though I continue to be. The hard truth is that The Massacre is a really solid G-rap album, while My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is something much closer to timeless art. The fucking way she goes, bud.
And 50 for president, if you're asking me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So anyway.
He could win.
Yeah, he could. Apparently anyone can. Anyway.
That would be like the high class version of Idiocracy. Like if, you know how in Idiocracy it's, what's his name?
Terry Crews?
Terry Crews in that movie.
Teriyaki. I almost said teriyaki.
I'm sure Terry Crews is quite a brilliant, well thought person behind it.
He reminds me a lot of 50. He's aged, and he's also been through some serious trauma too.
But if we wanted to turn the ship around for real and not go down the Idiocracy route we are at present, I think 50 Cent wouldn't be a bad option.
You know what? He gets my vote overall, as a person.
Anyway, that's going to do it for now.
Until next time, fill your world with music.